So far, we have looked at every single Five Nights at Freddy's figure or plush I own. It's time for our last video, the largest that we have, because, as it turns out, I was pretty ready for Freddy. We are finally here, the week of the big movie, and it feels like the group I'm going to go see it with just keeps getting larger and larger and larger. I have two friends, they're both cosplaying as the Purple Man to go see the movie. Yeah, I'm looking forward to dying of embarrassment, but hey, it's Five Nights. We're all a little bit embarrassed to admit we like this. But at the end of the day, as you can see, I have a pretty large Freddy collection. Freddy is my personal favorite animatronic, always has been. I know, it's the basic choice, but it's only been bolstered by characters like Funtime Freddy, Glamrock Freddy, and, in all honesty, Lefty. Yeah, the puppet was one of my favorites for a very long time, so making Lefty into a Freddy definitely helped with the Freddy likening. That said, I will point out a couple things. The big one is I am roping Golden Freddy into this. I know that Golden Freddy is a different character, but with the same logic I used for Springtrap being in the Bonnie video, I feel like this makes more sense than to put them in the Miscellaneous video, just because at the end of the day, they are just a different, older version of the Freddy suit or Freddy costume. Alongside that, these are all the Freddys I own currently. So if I have another one come in before the movie and I make a review, just know this is a floating timeline, but this is just a snapshot of the timeline we're all living in. So with all that said, let's get into this because it's probably going to be the longest video out of any of these just because of the sheer number. Starting with the Funko action figures, this is Golden Freddy from Wave 1. The only other one of my Wave 1 survivors being Bonnie. I've talked about Golden Freddy a few times because it's the only other one that never broke on me. I like the figure a lot. My only issue is you can't get Golden Freddy into that sitting position that we all know them for, but still I think the painting and sculpting is pretty well done. My one problem with this figure really is the fact that it's so fragile feeling, and it's kind of difficult for me to feel like I can pull this figure off the shelf to play with when I know just how many QC nightmares occurred during this first wave of the Funko figures. I'd like to see a re-release. We probably won't get it. The closest we'll probably ever get to a re-release using updated bodies is this, the Tie-Dye Freddy. They did all of Wave 1 as the tie-dye figures. Now, they only did one Freddy, they never did a Golden Freddy, but to be fair, I think that's kind of fine. That said, I really love the pink and purple and white they used. Out of all the tie-dye figures, I think Freddy is the most unique feeling and is definitely my favorite one to look at. It's such a better body too, the joints are thicker, the articulation's actually less impaired. If I could get a normal Freddy using this body, it would be amazing. We probably aren't though. So if you want an updated Freddy with better articulation and better QC, you could always get this guy and customize it, or you could be like me and just say, hey, I like the tie-dye well enough. Keeping with versions of FNAF 1 Freddy, this is a recent addition. It's the special delivery Patriotic Freddy, 4th of July Freddy. I live on Savannah, Georgia, which means I'm close to Tybee Island. I'm very used to seeing a lot of dudes dressed like this. It's very trashy, but I also quite like it on Freddy. It's very cool looking, very cute. Here's the weird thing though. If you look, they've done a different head sculpt. Let me pull Golden Freddy back in. Golden Freddy has an incorrect head, with the muzzle being too wide and there being an upper row of teeth. They've redone the Freddy Fazbear head sculpt to be far more accurate. So this is what makes me think that maybe down the line, down the road, we'll get an updated re-releases of the FNAF 1 characters. Otherwise, why redo Freddy's head? You've never had a reason to do it before. There is also the fact that this is one of the only Freddys to not come with a microphone. Instead, they come with a rocket. The rocket is probably able to go into their hands. I've never been able to get it to, and it broke the only time I tried. So, rocket's decent. It's more just, I think this is funny in the same way I think Liberty Chica is funny because, I don't know, it's goofy. Shamrock Freddy literally just looks like they're full of shit. Like, right there's brown around the mouth, and right here where their stomach was ripped open, there's brown there. It just looks like they ate so much shit that their stomach eventually popped. I'm not big on Shamrock Freddy. I'll just leave it there. Chocolate Freddy, meanwhile, is great. One of the best original designs Funko has ever come up with. I love the differences between the fudge darker brown and the milk chocolate light brown. You can see there's bites taken out all over him. I especially love how you can see his candy endoskeleton right here. Overall, this is definitely one of the more unique Freddys, one of my favorite ones to look at. even if it's not from a game. We're actually all done with the variants of FNAF 1 Freddy. We're now going to Toy Freddy, specifically Special Delivery High Voltage Freddy. So for a long time, Funko just refused to do the toy animatronics in the Funko action figure line. They claimed it was due to it being too expensive. Who would buy the toy animatronics? They're not well remembered. And yet they made the molds and did this. So you can get all the toy animatronics, save for Mangle, in this special delivery line. And I actually like the figures. I think they're very cool. They're from the special delivery line. The only thing is, if you have the molds, why not do the toy animatronics? I mean, this is cool and it's unique. I like it. Don't get me wrong. The red is pretty interesting. I love the circuit boards going towards the eyes, the yellow teeth. In the game, from what I understand, this is supposed to be like if you get a game over from this particular Freddy. By the end of the day, as cool as this is, I would kind of rather just have a normal toy Freddy and be like, yeah, I have an action figure representation of every single major redesign. Keep in mind, they don't have a withered Freddy either, but we do have Nightmare Freddy, we have Rockstar Freddy, we have basically every version of Freddy except the toys and the withereds. And that sucks, because FNAF 2 is my favorite game, and I would like to have those figures properly in the toy line. VR Freddy is just rubbing salt in the wound, because this is also Toy Freddy, same wave. So in Special Delivery, this is what this costume typically looks like. This is VR Freddy. It turns into this Freddy, High Voltage Freddy, whenever you have a game over or get jump scared. That's what I understand anyway. So overall, between the two, I do prefer VR Freddy, just because, one, I think the goggles are really funny. It reminds me of Ultimate Custom Night, how they're a salty gamer, and purple is my favorite color. I like it more than the red. I think both of them are good. I like both of them. I'm glad they exist. But once again, I would just prefer to have normal Toy Freddy. I actually don't have Nightmare Freddy or Funtime Freddy. I really wish I had Funtime Freddy specifically, because they're one of my favorites. I've never found the figure. So we're skipping all the way to Pizzeria Simulator and Rockstar Freddy. The Rockstar animatronics are actually some of my favorites, despite the fact that they're never properly used. Like, they're not even used in the actual gameplay bits of Pizzeria Simulator. The head sculpt is kind of weird on Rockstar. So if you look, the mouth is angled. It's closed more on this side than on that side. I've seen some people say that it looks like he's squished or he dislocated his jaw. I think it looks more like Rockstar Freddy is talking out the side of his mouth. And I think if you get him some good poses, it can really look as though they're just, talking or shouting. Overall, I know a lot of people don't like the Rockstars just because they are very basic redesigns, but I think they're actually really fun in that way. And moreover, there's just something kind of charming about them. It feels like this is what Toy Freddy wanted to be, a more cheery, more kid-friendly, more colorful version of the original Freddy. I think Rockstar does it so much better than Toy Freddy did, and I kind of wish, once again, that Rockstar Freddy and the other Rockstars got a little bit more attention. That same Pizzeria Simulator wave, this is the Walmart exclusive Lefty. Now, I know Lefty is technically a different character. It is, just the puppet, but at the same time, it is an endoskeleton and a costume look like in the visage of Freddy Fazbear. This toy is just a repaint of Rockstar Freddy with a slightly different head. So I think I can justify them being here very similar to how I can justify Golden Freddy being in this video. Even still, this is one of my favorite figures here. Now, I do have a huge puppet/Lefty bias, but I think the colors work so well. The posability is great. And overall, I think it just stands out very well amongst the other Freddys. I especially love how they captured the blacked out left eye. So with all that said, Lefty, despite being one of the more distinct characters here, definitely still has a bit of that old charm to them. Personal favorite of mine, and one of the first TikTok videos I ever did that really blew up, this is Dreadbear. Dreadbear is from the Help Wanted DLC, Curse the Dreadbear, and even though this could be kind of cartoony to some, we're doing Frankenstein's monster as Freddy Fazbear, I adore it. I think it's great in the game. I love the plushie they made for this, even though I never got it. The action figure is spectacular. I think everything about this, down to the fact that you can see the endoskeleton underneath, the kind of withered details, how the head works, it all is just so incredible. Once again, it kind of sucks that I can look at this and be like, oh, you spent so much budget making this a unique mold, but we never got the toy or the Wizards. At the same time, I'm so glad that we have it, because the toys and the Wizards at least have other things, you know? They have mystery minis, or some of them have plushies. There's especially a great Withered Bonnie plush coming out from Hex. At least Fredbear got something this nice, because I don't think there's a chance of them ever getting anything again. We have Freddy Frostbear. This is from Special Delivery, the AR game. However, technically speaking, within the game, this is a different animatronic than Freddy. So, as a result, I'm going to say that this is actually a different character as opposed to just a variant of Freddy. That said, it is very much in the style of the FNAF 1 Freddy, just with some frozen parts, like the ears have icicles hanging off. You have this really fun mistletoe hat up here, the plaid bow tie. You have these streaks going through the body that are supposed to look like, I guess, the endoskeleton cracking from the ice? I don't know, I'm not big on it. There isn't an endoskeleton underneath, which I kind of wish there was, because there was one with like Radioactive Foxy, and I think that was a strong point of that figure. But overall, the figure's pretty cool. You also have a big icicle that he can go and bludgeon things with. So, not the worst one here, one of the better ones in all honesty, but I do wish there were a few tweaks to the figure. Glamrock Freddy is my favorite FNAF character. They are my favorite version of Freddy. They are my favorite character from the series. I adore them. I really want to love this action figure. If you go back and watch my original review when I first got the figure, I was praising it. And I still want to, because I like this figure a lot at the end of the day. But it's a bad figure. The head is way too big, the body's way too small. They don't have the slick or slender proportions of Freddy at all. The colors are wrong. Just every single corner that they could have cut for this Freddy, they did. And that sucks, because this is supposed to be our main Freddy going forward, or at least that's what it seems like. Skipping ahead a bit, look at Snappable's Freddy. This Freddy does so much of a better job capturing the energy of Freddy Fazbear, and I wish this action figure did the same. Thank goodness for things like the statue and the U2s, both of which I am hunting down now, because at least those are really good depictions of Glamrock Freddy in this kind of scale or larger. That said, at the end of the day, I don't dislike this guy. He's still so much fun. I still adore him. I still love him on the shelf. He's always front and center. I just wish he captured a little bit more of the actual design of this character. And now we get to the newest versions of the Funko action figures when it comes to Freddy. This is Circus Freddy. I don't quite know what they're going for here. We don't know what these figures are, if these are Funko designs, if this is going to be a show, or a game, or a book. They've gone pretty all in. Like, there's mystery minis for these figures, there's plushies for these figures, there's action figures for them. Due to the fact that I don't know what they are, I'm not that attached to them. And Freddy, kind of like Chica and Bonnie, they feel kind of generic. Like, I don't see FNAF when I look at Freddy here. There's just not enough of the iconography, you know? It just looks like a cartoon bear. It looks like, was it Pogo? The Disney bear on the unicycle. That's who it reminds me of, more so than Freddy Fazbear. That said, Balloon Boy Freddy is adorable. I really like this figure. It's so cute, and because it's the Balloon Boy costume, that kind of matches better with like the FNAF designs. Only thing is, it makes me wish we got a normal Balloon Boy action figure, and instead we have Balloon Boy Freddy and Balloon Boy Foxy. They're both great, but could we get the normal Balloon Boy, maybe? Taking a look at Mystery Minis next, the only ones I have of Freddy are these two Blacklight Glamrock Freddys. The reason I kept them both is because the colors are actually different. As you can see, the green and yellow are both, well, the green's darker, the yellow is lighter on this one, and then the yellow is darker, green lighter on this one. I don't know if this is a variant or a running change, but I thought it was fun enough. I kept them both. Besides, I like how the Glamrocks look in the blacklight style. Now we can talk about the Snappables. They are my favorite line Funko has ever done for Five Nights. I think they have a wonderful gimmick. Just to go over it again, basically, the way these guys work is that they come in pieces. You're able to put them back together, customize legs and arms and heads. They come with different faceplates, so let me take it off here. And you can see that they always put the endoskeleton in underneath. A really cool part is you can see with Toy Freddy, that's an Endo 2 skeleton. If we take off Golden Freddy's face, that's an Endo 1. And if we take off Security Breach Glamrock Freddy's face, doop. Oh, that one sticks a bit more. There we go. It is a Security Breach Endo. So they even go that far. This gimmick line has so much detail and love put into it. But first, let's actually go over these figures as opposed to just gushing on them, as I'm currently doing. My apologies. Taking a look at Golden Freddy first. Golden Freddy came with the theater set. So if you ever wanted like the theater room from FNAF 1, a really good place that was made using Golden Freddy, I actually have that on display here in the collection room. Golden Freddy themselves are very cute. You can see that there is an unmistakable cartoony stylized approach to these figures, and yet they still sculpted in so much wither detail. I do wish Golden Freddy could actually sit down or lie down. They can't, but I think they're fine. Taking another look, we have just normal FNAF 1 Freddy. Now, this one came in a 2-pack with William Afton / Springtrap. I think that's probably the best 2-pack they've ever done because it gives you the 2 main animatronics at the end of the day. That said, I do think this Freddy looks just a little bit dopey. Like, the eyes don't quite line up. I guess the head is supposed to be at an angle, but Freddy looks a little bit goofier than I think they meant him to look. Still, though, I think he's fine. I just wish the eyes weren't as misaligned as they are. Taking a look at Toy Freddy. Toy Freddy's just perfect. I love this. I love the fact that they had his eyes blacked out, his kind of screaming face, his microphone. This is one of the few times where I think Toy Freddy looks more serious and more threatening than normal FNAF 1 Freddy. And then finally, my favorite Freddy ever, Glamrock Freddy, is also probably my favorite snappable. His eyes are also misaligned, but it's less noticeable with him than it was on, say, normal Freddy. And just the proportions were captured perfectly. They got the shoulder pads right. The colors look wonderful. To me, Glamrock Freddy is the proof that the snappables have an undeniable level of quality that even the Funko action figures don't get, unfortunately. So, if you were to start a Funko FNAF collection, I would totally say grab some snappables first. Glamrock Freddy is coming out now. I think he's like on Amazon for $8. He's a good place to start. Well, there's only one place left to go, and that is, of course, going into the few plushies of Freddy I have. For a long time, this Glamrock Freddy was my only Funko plush. I eventually wound up getting more just because I thought they looked cool, and I had some friends who kind of showed me some of the cool ones that come out. That said, I still like this one a lot. Kind of like the Glamrock Freddy figure. It's a bad take. The head's way too swollen. You're missing a lot of details. It's kind of generic looking, but I still really like it, man. I do. I think they captured enough of the energy for me personally, especially with this shade of blue on the face and the lightning bolt, that I'm willing to overlook the fact that it is not a terrific plush. It's just cute enough. It's just decent enough for me to say I still really like it, even if I wouldn't personally recommend it. VR Freddy, on the other hand, is just perfect. I love this. The purple, the way the hat is like this more kind of vibrant purple. I hate how it folds up like this, but I do like how it looks. I love the Cylon like eyepiece up here. There's something about VR Freddy just being able to like clean up on all of these good things. Like, they got a good figure, they got a good plush, they got a good mystery mini if I'm ever able to find it. Who did VR Freddy kill to get all this stuff? Finally, we have Tie-Dye Freddy. And kind of like the Tie-Dye Freddy action figure, this isn't a redo of the original Freddy plush. It's a completely new body that's far more accurate and better looking. Kind of like the rest of the tie-dye animatronics were. So, I have to wonder, why did they update the bodies? I know that the original line of plushies are getting re-released at Hot Topic, but they're still using the old bodies. Why go to the effort of doing a new one for Tie-Dye Freddy? Though I will say once again, I love this plush a lot. It's just perfect, the colors are ace, I like the eyes. It's an incredibly good plush, and it's probably my favorite plush that Freddy's ever received, to be honest. And there you have it. All of my Freddy Fazbears, and with the end of this video recording, all the FNAF merchandise I currently own. I'm so excited for the movie, I can't wait to go and see it with some friends, and thank you everyone for watching these, and hey, I hope that you were ready for Freddy too.